Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland, this is for you.
What's going on, Cavs fans? Welcome back to a post-deadline edition of the Block the Shot the Stop. I'm Skylar Webker. He's Kevin Lynch. Kevin, the dust has settled in the league. We have passed the trade deadline. The Cavs made some moves. One bigger move that we've already discussed, but
Right.
hey, we get to catch up on all of the moves and the past couple of games in this West Coast road trip. Kevin, how are you feeling with a clear head?
A little underwhelmed, I think, is where I'm settling. I really liked the first move with DeAndre Hunter. I think it was almost kind of necessary with as much as that had kind of deteriorated, and they got back a couple of guys I really thought could help. So I was kind of riding high. We'll have plenty of time to regurgitate the James Harden for Darius Garland trade. But I mean, I think we both kind of made our feelings clear about that. Time will tell. Emotions calm, and if he comes in, I'm at like it may work out for this season, even if I have my doubts, because if he comes in motivated and he like all that kind of stuff. But time will tell. We don't have to regurgitate. So the only deal that's happened since that we haven't talked about is the Lonzo Ball trade to Utah, straight salary dump. It took 2 second-round picks to giving up to Utah to get him to take him and salary dump him, which it felt like a necessary move. But the fact that it cost you 2 second-round picks and then they didn't make the one more move that they needed to get under the second apron leaves me a little underwhelmed. It's kind of like, what was the point of, they could have just waived. They had the choice to do what they did and give up 2 second-round picks, which I understand are kind of lottery tickets, not always, but the fact that the Cavs have so few of them, they could have just waived Lonzo. It would have cost a little bit more money for Dan Gilbert in the tax, but if you're not going to end up getting under the second apron, literally the only thing it did is save some tax money. And I thought we didn't care about Dan Gilbert's money. I thought Dan Gilbert didn't care about Dan Gilbert's money. So yeah, I mean, I mixed reviews. How about you?
I feel good. I feel better. This team is better than it was before all of the moves. Mm-hmm. For sure. There's a lot less dead weight on this team. The ceiling is higher on this team. Time will tell if the playoff bugaboos come around, but let's get to the playoffs first. Let's focus on that. With the Lonzo thing, they did create like trade level exception there. So they technically can give Naquan Tomlin more years on his deal because of the exception that was created.
I didn't know that.
So that's the only thing that benefits that. I am a little bit suspect on Naquan Tomlin. Not that he's undeserving of a roster spot. I think we're well documented that he deserves a roster spot on this team and he deserves a standard contract. But let's be honest, the shooting isn't quite there. It never has quite been there. He's made up for it in defense and effort. And I wonder how much that's going to intensify as we get into the playoffs. I don't know how much of a factor Naquan Tomlin is going to be for this Cavs team as we get into the playoffs.
Time will tell. To slightly push back, like in the G League, he was like a league average, and I'm talking like NBA league average 3-point shooter. So I wouldn't say the shooting's never been there. If he can be an average 3-point shooter, that goes miles to him being a super productive player because of the other things he offers. He's been well below average 3-point shooter this year. I don't know the reasons for it. I think his shot looks halfway decent. He looks fairly confident doing it. I think it's one of those things, this isn't a Lonzo Ball thing, a guy who has been around for a long time and who had, frankly, higher expectations. Tomlin's a guy who should have never been in the NBA. A lot of people know his story by now, right? And if he's contributing in as many ways as he can, and here's the thing. You could have very easily said what you just said about Naquan Tomlin's 3-point shot about Jalen Tyson's 3-point shot a year ago. And
yeah, sure.
I think the common trait that they share is they're maniacs and maniac workers. So I would not be surprised, and it might not be this season, it might not be till next season, all of a sudden Naquan Tomlin greatly improves as a 3-point shooter. But I agree, at the moment, it's not great, and it might not be great the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I'm not that he's not deserving of a spot. He absolutely deserves a spot on this roster, and it could be a building block for years to come. Kobe Altman had his presser today, and he kind of said that he wants to keep building around Evan Mobley and core pieces like Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, and Jarrett Allen. And he said, we're also going to start talking about Jalen Tyson in that way. Yeah. So that's exciting that they see Jalen Tyson as a part of this team for the long haul.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. All right. So I'll like kind of lead us into our one trade segment that Skylar does not know much about. I'm going to put on stage now, but this is an accountability segment for us. We're both accountable guys. And if you have a podcast, about your favorite NBA team, you're going to give out some takes and some predictions and everything. So now that the trade deadline's done, I actually want to go back and look at a few of the things that we predicted might happen, whether the trade line or up until this point in the season, now that we're over halfway through it. So the one you see on the screen, this might be our best one. We put out 3 trades on social media. This is on December 21st, 6 weeks before the trade deadline. And we got pretty darn close on this one. I actually would have loved to put Keon Ellis instead of Devin Carter. I just didn't think the Kings would do it. So this one, 2 of the 3 correct guys, basically the correct thinking. Like Devin Carter is a guy who hopefully is the same like prototype of player as Keon Ellis, and just much more green and less accomplished. So did really good on this one. I think we can pat ourselves on the back for this one, Skylar. Going, and so next is a trade I'm glad didn't happen. We put out Sadiq. We went Sadiq Bey for Dean Wade. The thinking was more Sadiq Bey is signed on they're basically the same contract, but Sadiq Bey has another year on his, and you could argue they're in different ways similar contributions of players. This is more of get a same prototype, but a guy that Sadiq Bey contributes more offensively than Dean Wade does. Dean Wade contributes in other ways. Obviously, we love Dean, but this is one I thought, in mid-December, their offense was really struggling. So I think at that time, not a terrible idea, but also one of those revisionist history. You hope you're glad it didn't happen. The third trade we put on social media, I really wish did happen, because a lot of people have talked about wanting the team to have a third big, and that third big to be a physical presence for some of those matchups that the Cavs and Mobley and Allen can just seem to struggle with. Knicks being the prime example with Mitchell Robinson. So you would get off Lonzo to get Day'Ron Sharpe from Brooklyn, who I think is super underrated. I know we've had Luca on that loves Day'Ron Sharpe as well. I've always been a fan of his, and thought Brooklyn might do it just to get off the money. And I would have thrown a second round pick in with this just to sweeten the pot a little bit. Really wish this one did happen, but it did not. So from there, actually going to go back and we're going to look at a couple of our takes about what might be happening with the Cavs around this time. So buckle up.
opportunities, but he can show the myriad of things that he can do to contribute to this team.
Very, very well said. I was remiss in saying one of the things about it being our guy, we wanted to be somebody that didn't already have a well-known nickname and we can nickname them. Like last year was, like you said, Ty Jerome was TJ Maxx because he brought great value every day. It started out as a joke and then couldn't have become more true. Jalen Iron Tyson is a great nickname for so many reasons. One, it's just a fire nickname to begin with.
Badass.
But secondly, it does describe who he is and he's going to do for this Cavs team. He's going to be the toughness. He's going to be the guy on the floor. He's going to be the guy, taking on the tough perimeter defensive assignments, bodying up, filling in the cracks where the Cavs need him to with so many stars and high.
All right, so not bad. Our Jalen Tyson takes. Like, what do you think about that? Hearing back that was on the preseason episode where we hyped up our guy Jalen Tyson to be much bigger contributor than a lot of people thought this year.
I think we thought he'd be a bigger contributor. I don't think we knew quite how big of a contributor he would be. I mean, like forcing his way into the starting lineup kind of contributor.
I will grant you that for sure. I think I was saying a lot of the things and I didn't totally believe it. I remember distinctly you asked me, is he like at least is he going to average more than 10 minutes a game? You said, I think it was 10, maybe 12, something like that. And I said he's going to average 25, which he's now averaging 30, but 30 plus. So really, really, really good stuff. I got one more take that we had before the season that I thought we should bring back and discuss.
I think my best pick is Lonzo Ball, 6th man of the year.
Oh, no.
6,000. Lonzo Ball, 6th man of the year. I mean, look, we know he's going to play a big role on this team. Obviously, to what you said last year, Kevin, to the winner get the spoils. They're going to be the best team in the East. So they're going to have a lot of attention. I think they have one of the most national games this year in recent years. I think Lonzo, 6th man of the year, is a real possibility.
You went off the board. I love it. I don't think he's going to play the 65 games. Actually, you know what? We learned this last year. You don't have to play 65 games to win 6th man of the year. That was the argument. Ty Jerome. Oh, look, you're on it, Skylar. I like it.
I got to say, Skylar, I'm going to have to search for a new pick. That was literally the bet I placed. I got to
sort of 500.
Lonzo Ball, 6th man of the year.
Oh, Skylar, do you have any final words on Lonzo Ball?
Good riddance. He is not a Cavalier anymore. That pick was as frozen cold as Lake Erie right now.
Oh, shout out to our guys B-Town and Wes who didn't know they were going to get a surprise appearance on the on the pod tonight. But we had plenty of them. But I actually went back and wanted to look at the trade ones, and then I found that, and I was like, you know what? It's the best thing you can do sometimes is just laugh, and then turn the page, new chapter. And that this could be the last time we ever talked about Lonzo Ball.
It wasn't because of opportunity. They gave him so much leash in the beginning of the year. It was 100% to talent or to ability.
Yes. So that's some of ours. Maybe at the end of the season we'll look back at a few more that we made, both on the positive and the negative side. And but you win some, you lose some. Speaking of the Cavs, let's get into the actual games where they actually have been winning more than losing.
Yeah, they have won 2 games here in a row on this West Coast swing. The first one in Portland, where they didn't quite have their new guys yet, but they had Jarrett Allen. Man, this was the Jarrett Allen game. 40 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks. Holy cow. He was feasting.
It was the best game of his career. Jarrett Allen. I I think, I don't know. Some people will say watching a game like this is frustrating because why doesn't he just dominate like this all the time? Look, this is the best game of his career. And one of the best games maybe in Cavaliers history by guys not named LeBron. Like, I mean, that like they were talking about the stat line, especially with him playing under 30 minutes is like the first time in NBA history. And there's some other combination of stats where he was one of only 6 or 7 guys to ever do this. And so I think the fact remains, this Cavs offense is significantly better when they involve Jarrett early in the game and they don't forget about him. Like, and I will say the number one best thing that I think will come out of this James Harden acquisition is I think he always feeds big guys really well. He is an exceptional passer, maybe one of the best guys at just court vision in NBA history. And I think Jarrett Allen will by far be the biggest beneficiary of Harden being a Cavalier.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ignore stats like that, especially I think he's top 5 or top 10 all time in assists, and he just passed Keon Ellis for 9th all time in scoring. So he's really capable on the offensive end and getting his big guys involved. I mean, we just saw Zubac get traded for more picks than Luka got traded for. I mean, he really gives guys career years whenever he has big men. I mean, when Embiid was his big man, that's when he won MVP. It keeps going all the way back.
Yeah, and Jarrett came out guns a-blazing, 16 points in the first 9 minutes of the game on 8 of 10 shooting. And I want to, as much as Jarrett deserves every accolade for this game, I did want to point out Jalen Tyson, 4 assists in the first quarter on 4 consecutive possessions, all to Jarrett Allen. Made it a point to get him the ball and put him in good situations to score. Then halfway through the quarter, Craig Porter comes in and he has 5 assists in 6 minutes, in just over 6 minutes played in the first quarter. Almost all of those going to Jarrett Allen as well. So I thought those 2 guys right off the bat, and really CPJ for the whole game, were a big part in Allen's career nights. And again, Allen deserves tons of credit, but I thought Tyson at the beginning and Porter for the whole game were exceptional at continuing to feed Jarrett in positions where, he could score.
Really, it was the Cavs team. It seemed like everybody was feeding him the ball because Donovan Mitchell, 9 assists.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill, 4. Jalen Tyson, 6. Craig Porter Jr., 12. I mean, everybody was kind of feeding the ball, and that was Cavs basketball. That felt really good. Yeah, it's the Trailblazers, but you take wins.
No, they're not a bad team. They were without Denny Avdia, who is their best player, and as well as a couple other guys. So take the forward the but I will say Donovan Clingan, the young center on Portland, is getting tons of praise as a guy who, like, especially on the defensive end, is a potential game changer. And Jarrett cooked him all night long. So I don't, with rare exceptions, I don't worry too much about saying you lost or you won, but it was a bad team kind of thing. Portland's a fine team. They've been competitive most of the year. They were missing a couple of guys, but you go on the road to the other coast and get a almost 20-point win. That's a good night. Yeah,
for sure. And I do think Portland is going to be a better team next year when they have Dame Lillard back and have Avdia. So, and I love Portland. I love the Trailblazers. I loved Dame and CJ McCollum in Portland. Like, they were my West Coast team for quite a minute. So I'm not talking bad about Portland. Just they're not having the swing of it right now as they would have hoped.
For sure. The one other guy I really feel like we should call out is Sam Merrill. Sam was fantastic. If it wasn't, other guys are going to get, overshadowed when your teammate has a career night and a rare night ever in NBA history. But Sam has been contributing well since he came back from like his latest injury, but the shooting was a little bit not there. This game seemed to get him on track, made 6 of 8 from 3, 22 points overall. And when we lead into talking about the Clippers game in a minute, had another solid shooting night there. Sam is obviously somebody who brings the dimension that nobody else on the team is. As good a shooter as Donovan Mitchell is, as good a shooter Jalen Tyson has become. Nobody shoots on the move as well as Sam Merrill, and his ability to do that can open up so many things on the offense. And, when you got a guy who's flame throwing from 3 and then a guy who's dominating the middle, you're going to win a heck of a lot of games.
For sure. I do want to get to this Clippers game because this was exciting, man. This game made me feel okay about everything around the trade deadline and anything like that. Just the instant contributions you got from Schroeder and Keon Ellis in this game were so fun to watch. I mean, it was, especially Schroeder, just a completely different spark and vibe and energy coming off the bench there that this team, especially that second unit, desperately needed.
Yeah, for sure. So I've mentioned a couple of times here, I'm a longtime big Dennis Schroeder fan, and I'll admit a lot of that comes from his play with Team Germany. I'm a huge international basketball guy, the Olympics, World Championships, everything. I watch it all. And he has been phenomenal. He was just the MVP of the EuroLeague tournament this summer. And this is a game, I think this is kind of the typical game you'll get from Dennis Schroeder. There's games where he can be an incredible scorer and games where he might contribute in other ways and games they'll have bad games, but he's not the most efficient scoring the basketball. He's only 5 for 14 in this game for 11 points, but just he's so good at organizing an offense and getting things going. And he is tough as nails everywhere on the court. He holds up very well defensively for his size. He always just seems to be around the ball, getting deflections, getting steals. I mean, we have, I wish we had the highlight clip of the steal he made from Kawhi. It was just, that's going to be one of those that when they do the 90-second clip of highlights from the season, it'll be on there. It was such just a heady play. And then Ellis immediately knocks down the shot, which I think was his first points with the Cavs. And I mean, these are two guys that are really going to contribute. There might be a few less minutes for them than we originally thought with the Harden deal, but I still think both of these guys are going to be in the rotation and playing, significant minutes.
Yeah, and look, it's not often when the entire team is positive in the plus minus. I mean, this was everything. The ball movement was incredible. The defense was incredible. The shooting was incredible. Like everything, it was one of those nights where everything clicked. And then you realize Evan Mobley's not even on the floor. And you just traded for a Hall of Famer. We just talked about the accolades and James Harden. So these two things are about to get even better. Hopefully, I mean, knock on wood, we still have to see it. But like seeing this before James Harden gets acclimated into this team made me really excited for kind of the second part of the season with the Cavs.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cohesiveness right now, and not to belabor the point, we won't go down, but it is kind of, it is one of the biggest worries with acquiring Harden is he is such a ball stopper and wants to play in isolation so much, or just play in pick and roll and not do the ball movement. I think this team over the last 6 weeks has finally started hitting their stride. I think they're 16-7 in their last 23. They have the third best net rating since right around Christmas. I really like what I'm seeing, and I think Schroeder and Ellis are two guys that fit in pretty seamlessly to this team. While a guy like Harden, you're going to have to adjust a lot of things you do because of how he plays and how good he is. But like these two guys are why I like, part of the reason I like the trade is I think the Cavs wouldn't have to change one thing about their offensive system, defensive system, and those guys would have just came in, filled in, and started contributing. And one game in, that proves to be correct.
One game, I know, small sample size, I got it, but you could just tell like the energy and the like vibes or just, I don't know, the demeanor around this team was so much different with these guys on the bench. And we talked about it at nauseum last year about how they needed tough guys to be on this team. And boy, are they kind of getting that in Ellis and Schroeder and Naquan Tomlin and Jalen Tyson. Like, they're getting tough guys.
For sure. And well, we talked only about the offense. I want to talk about the defense for a minute. I thought that was some of the best defense they've played in a while. Obviously, a depleted Clippers team. They just traded Harden. Zubac didn't play, who then actually got traded today. But to force 24 turnovers, to get 17 steals, Donovan got 4, Schroeder got 3, a whole list of other guys got at least 1. They were swarming defensively, where it seems like so much of this year, and I go back to right around the time of that like doubleheader against the Bulls, which I unfortunately went to the first game of, and like they look like they were playing with cinder blocks tied to, instead of gym shoes, and that was so like just dead energy and everything, and it is the complete opposite now. I just think guys are like just all over the place. They're running more efficient offensively. The offense is everything's moving on offense, but they're swarming a little bit on defense. They have active hands. They're moving their feet, and again, really like what I'm seeing. And I think that's one area, especially Keon Ellis is going to help. But even Dennis Schroeder, I think he's an underrated defender for the point guard position. And if nothing else, is a bulldog there, and it isn't gonna get isn't going to get intimidated by anybody on the defensive end. So I thought this defensive effort was one of their best of the season.
And we talked about it kind of when everybody was playing like crap, except Jalen Tyson and Naquan Tomlin, how like they need to catch that infection. They need to have that infectious energy in this team. And
yeah,
we're like seeing that. Like that's really fresh to see.
Yeah.
And I makes me hopeful that when they get Harden in here and they get Evan Mobley back, that like look out. And that's not even talking about Max Strus, who survived the trade deadline.
Right. And the other thing I really like this game, they played with a lot of pace. I mean, part of that is forcing 24 turnovers, right? And scoring 47 points off those turnovers. You get turnovers, you're naturally going to play with some pace. But I think I think the insertion of Schroeder definitely helped with that, because you always had a ball handler on the floor where, you were asking Mitchell to play point guard and play at times without a point guard. And as much as I like Craig Porter, he's not a natural point guard and a guy who looks to push as much as we might want him to, but Dennis Schroeder will. And I think he's a guy that will just get them into their offense quicker and give them better opportunities. And again, in this game, you can't ask for more than this as far as defense leading to offense, which is more of a football term, but that's exactly what this was. They hunkered down. They were super active on the defensive end. They won the rebounding battle by like 7, and then like the turnovers I talked about, 24 while only committing 6, getting 47 points off those turnovers. That is complementary basketball at its finest. And while this Cavs team is always going to be highlighted by its offense, they're an offense first team. I think they have the ability to do this, to be a better than average defense and an aggressive defense that gets them even better offensive opportunities.
For sure. I mean, like I said, small sample size, but I'd put them in a top 10 defense if they can keep that up. Now, are they going to get 24 turnovers a game? Probably not. But
right.
They played with heart. They played with intensity. They played good old ethical basketball, like we like to praise this team.
Enjoy it now.
Wow. I think there's going to be some learning curves on both ends of this James Harden thing.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm having trouble finding a something to complain about right now.
No, it's things are going well for the Cavs, and I think that's, again, this is the last time I'm going to mention on this episode, but I think that is a big part of everyone's hesitation on Harden. Yes, it's because frankly, he's not the easiest guy to root for, and his style of play is not enjoyable to watch for a lot of people and everything. But I do think they made this move when it seemed like they finally are hitting their groove and kind of getting back to their elite offensive system. And now you're bringing in a guy where he nicknamed himself the system. Like you play his, brand of ball, and it may make them even better, but I think there's a possibility it makes them worse. And I think that's what a lot of has. So my hope is that Harden comes in and he's the best version that he can be in the Cavs system that they're running right now, and doesn't want to be the best version of himself in the more isolation heavy system that he has preferred for a lot of his career.
And from everything that everybody has said, granted, it could all just be lip service.
Sure.
It does seem like he wants to come to the Cavs system, not be the system. I mean, he knows that this is Donovan Mitchell's team.
Yeah.
He knows that Evan Mobley's team.
Yeah.
You have to assume that he wants that guaranteed money, so he's going to do it the Cavs way, or else that guaranteed money is likely not going to come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're talking about Harden, we might as well just shoot over to previewing Saturday's game, which will be the only game that happened before our next episode. We're going to see old friend DeAndre Hunter. We're just seeing all of our old friends, like before they're even old friends. And the Sacramento Kings are a mess. They didn't accomplish anything that they should have tried to accomplish at the deadline. They still have individually talented players, but not a lot of cohesiveness. They obviously just lost Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder because they're now on the Cavs. And this is a game you go in, tell DeAndre it's good to see him and wish him luck, take care of business, and then move on to the next stop.
Yeah, I mean, they're a mess of a team right now. They're a mess of an organization. I mean, we've highlighted that, but when your leading scorer is Zach LaVine, like this stage of his career, Zach LaVine, and your leading assist is this stage of his career, Russell Westbrook, it's probably not good signs on what your team is composed of as a whole.
Right. No, it's very true. Again, I don't have a ton to say about this game other than, like they did recently, you go in, you take care of business. They're riding a lot of momentum. I do think the insertion of James Harden in the lineup is going to have a kind of an instant burst of energy with the team. I fully expect them to take care of business Saturday night. If they don't, I'm going to be crabby for our next episode.
Yeah, so they take on Sacramento, and then it comes kind of the more challenging game, I would say, in Denver with Jokic being back. So
yeah,
let's get through Sacramento. Let's get to that actual test.
Yep. And before you know, we're quickly approaching the All-Star break. There's 3 games left before the All-Star break, and you have a fantastic opportunity to win at least 2 of the 3. Do that, take care of business, and maybe even get all 3 of them. And the Cavs will be riding into the All-Star break at basically the best point they've been all year.
And before we get to our closing segment, just an update on the standings. The Cavs are in sole possession of the 4th seed.
Yep.
Only, 2 games back or game and a half back?
Yep. Only problem is, while the Cavs have been making this huge run, all of a sudden the Knicks have gotten hot and Boston has gotten hot. So they haven't, well, it's not a lot of ground. They actually haven't been able to make up any ground, even with them playing as well as they have. So hopefully the Cavs can keep this up for a while and have those teams stumble a little bit. And because, like I said, realistically, the 2 seed is still very much in front of them if they continue to play as well as they have basically since around Christmas.
Absolutely. And I'm just kind of glancing over the teams at the back half of the schedule. The back half of the schedule is much, much easier.
Yeah.
Than these other teams.
We'll go into that. We'll probably do an episode over the All-Star break where we go into that, but the Cavs do have one of the more favorable post All-Star break schedules, and we'll do a little bit of a deep dive on that kind of when we get the week or so break here soon next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Wednesdays, we like to, or our midweek episode, I should say, we like to close out with Dad's Talking Cavs. This is your free parenting advice, your dad wins, your dad losses. Kevin, what do you got?
This is a tough one. So to set this up, when you have a young kid, say like 2 to 3 years old, and they're kind of, still learning their verbal vocabulary and everything, they mispronounce words. And a lot of times it's the cutest thing in the world. Like, my daughter, for example, we had our dog is named Zoe. We call her Zozo, but she couldn't say Z's, so she would call our dog Yo-Yo instead of Zozo. And to this day, we still do it. It's cute. She used to call water Wawa, several things. The problem is, as your kids get older and the mispronunciations get different, it's not quite as cute. So my daughter and I were, and I actually had my 9-month-old at the library this Sunday, and my daughter wants to play chess. She's very interested in playing chess, not learning the rules or anything, but just like getting the board out and making whatever move she wants and claiming she won. So we get him out. She's doing all of I don't know how to play chess, but I'm positive every move she made was illegal. And she starts getting all of my pawns. But the only thing is, she's not calling them pawns. She goes and takes my pawns. She says, "Daddy, I got your porn," as loud as she can in the library. And then she makes another illegal move. And these are all in rapid succession. "I got another porn. I got another porn, Daddy." And then all of a sudden she's like, "Daddy, I got all your porns. You're going to lose because I got all your porns." And it was tough. It's a tough look when your 5-year-old's yelling that, when the 9-month-old is bouncing on your knee. And more of the story, we need to find a new library for the next 2 to 3 years.
As another kind of along with that, don't name your pets close to curse words, because our dog's name is Tucker. And those T's don't come out very clear for those when they're that 1-2 years old. That's
a tough one. That's definitely something you should consider if you're getting a dog and ever plan on having kids.
Yeah. Yep. We did not think that far ahead when we got the dog, so we had to correct that one pretty quick because we could not go out into the world with that.
Yep. What do you got, Scott?
Staying along with dogs, we've recently taken up fostering. So we have a foster puppy running around this house, and it's fun, it's cute, but definitely do it if it's fulfilling. It's very fulfilling for sure. Remember puppy stuff, because we did not remember anything on how we trained our first dog. Like our dog Tucker, I'm pretty sure he went in the house once, learned, and then never did it again. Having a puppy again, I kind of forgot all of what this was. Just constantly watching it like a hawk and constantly following it around the house. Like you almost feel like a Velcro like parent, not even a Velcro like animal or child. So definitely know what you're getting yourself into. Remember puppy phases. If you ever get like puppy fever or baby fever, foster an animal, and then you're gonna be like, I don't have that anymore.
Probably a good call. Yeah, no, puppies or dogs that need retraining are a lot of work. I'm the biggest dog guy in the world. I love them, but it can definitely wear you down.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in to our midweek episode. We'll be back Sunday. We'll recap the Lonely Kings game, but then we'll look ahead as we kind of wrap up the Cavs, wrap up this first half of the season, get into the All-Star break. Stay tuned through the All-Star break as we got some new and exciting episodes coming out during that. We'll put more about that later as soon as we get a couple of odds and end pieces wrapped up. Please follow us online. We love fan interaction. We're on all of the platforms. Follow us on YouTube as we keep growing that content over there. And please, please, please subscribe to the audio version of this podcast. It's absolutely free. We're on all of the platforms. Be a friend, tell a friend. We're just Cavs fans trying to put on good content for other Cavs fans. So for Skylar Webker, he's Kevin Lynch. We'll get out of here. And as always,
Go Cavs.